Okay, guys, let's go through a little bit of a review of the graphing inequalities. So if you look at the inequality that I have here, we started out on Friday identifying our y-intercept and our b-values. So this part right here is your b-value, so it's positive 1. This value right there is your slope, so it's 4/3. It's going to be your rise, and that's going to be your run. Now, because I know the slope is positive, based on our conversation last week, we know it's going to be uphill. Okay? Now, if this is my inequality, it tells me it's going to be a filled-in line. And if it's that inequality, I'm going to shade above. Okay, now, you remember, you're going back to that foldable and referring to that every time we need to do this. So I'm going to start by graphing this part first. So positive 1 is where that first piece goes. If my slope is 4/3, that means I'm going to go up 4. So 1, 2, 4, and then over 3. 1, 2, 3. That's going to be where my next point is. Okay, now I know I'm going to have a solid line that's going to go through this. Try to do as straight as I can on this. You would use your ID to be able to make that straight line. And I have to, on this one, shade above. So above would be on this side. Now remember what we said in class. Get close to that line, but don't quite touch it, because you want to be able to tell if it's dashed or filled in. And on your paper, once you have pencil and you start using that highlighter, it's going to smear a little bit. Okay, everybody good on that one? And you can look back, we have another example of that in your foldable. So here's the next one. So I'm going to start out finding my b value and my m value. So right here is my b value, so positive 3. Now my slope value would be up here, and since there's a negative and no number, I assume it's negative 1. Now, to be able to make that rise over run, I'm going to put it over 1. And that's what we're going to do with any of them that have a whole number and no fraction there. So if the slope is overall negative, that means it's going to be going downhill when we're done. Okay, if that's my inequality, that means it's going to be a dashed line. And if that's my inequality, I'm going to have to shade below. Okay, so now we're going to take this information and get it onto my graph, starting with this. So positive 3, there's my y-intercept. Now, if my slope is negative 1 over 1, it means I'm going to go down 1 and over 1. And that's going to give me my next point. Now, I can keep going down 1 over 1 all the way across if I want. And I could move backwards by going up 1 and back 1 and kind of continue the pattern up there. Now, as we talked about in class, you don't have to do that. That's just to give you some more points. I know the more points I have, the more straight my line is. Okay, now we know it's going to be a dashed line. Okay, we know that it's got to get shaded below. So this half is going to be my below. Remember, get close to the line, don't quite touch it, so you can tell if it's going to be dashed or not when you're trying to look back at your own stuff. Okay, now go over your foldables from Friday.